Imagine standing on like a floating sheet of ice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, just picture it. And while you're standing there, a two-story building made of just freezing, roaring water collapses right behind you.
No, thank you.
Right. But here's the catch. Your only way out, the only way to survive it, is you actually have to surf it.
That is intensely terrifying.
It really is. But that is the visceral scenario we are looking at today. Welcome to the deep dive. We're exploring this really fascinating intersection of intense physical endurance, the complex mechanics of the ocean, and really the psychology of operating in highly dynamic environments.
Yeah, it's basically a study in what it takes to thrive when the ground beneath you is, literally evaporating and reforming second by second.
Exactly. And to guide us today, we have a really unique combination of sources. First, we're looking at this striking collection of photographs.
They're amazing photos.
They really are. They capture stand-up paddleboard surfers, so SUP surfers, navigating these just massive ocean swells. Like in one photo, the water is this vibrant, almost translucent green color.
Right, yeah.
And the surfer is standing tall on the board. They've got this long paddle gripped in both hands, and they're leaning completely into the vertical curve of the wave. I mean, they look like a gladiator facing down nature.
That's a perfect way to describe it. And there's another shot, that black and white image.
Oh, yeah. That one is intense.
Right. You can literally see the sheer physical tension in the surfer's body. They're pivoting on the water, and there's this massive spray of white water kicking up behind them.
Yeah, it's so dynamic.
Yeah.
And so those visual sources, they're paired with this deeply reflective diary entry.
Which is fascinating.
It is. It's from a SUP surfing instructor who works at the Malipo Sea Camp, or Blotto Camp.
Yeah.
And this text basically serves as our technical manual and our philosophical guide for what is actually happening in those photographs.
It gives so much context to what just looks like a cool picture.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because looking at these incredible images, it is very, very easy to just see the glamour of the ride, right?
Absolutely. It looks glorious.
But the diary tells a drastically different story about the brutal mechanics required to even get to that glamorous moment.
Yeah.
We have to start with the intense physical reality this instructor is facing just to get off the beach at Malipo.
Right. The environment is just hostile.
Completely. The diary sets the scene for us. There's an incoming tide. You've got 30 surfers in the water.
Which is crowded.
Very crowded.
Yeah.
And crucially, the temperature. The water is freezing.
And that temperature dictates every single decision made from that point forward.
How so?
Well, in a freezing environment, your margin for error shrinks to practically zero. Like, falling into the water is no longer just an inconvenience, or like a bruised ego.
Right, you're not just getting wet.
No, it's a severe physiological threat. The cold rapidly drains your core temperature. It saps your muscle glycogen, and it fundamentally alters your motor control. You just stop working the way you're supposed to.
That makes sense. And the instructor actually explicitly writes that their primary goal, like before even thinking about catching any waves, is simply do not fall in.
Yes, survival first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that survival mandate completely drives their equipment strategy. They talk about choosing a board with very high volume.
Right, which is super important. Let's look at the hydrodynamics of that choice. So board volume is measured in liters, right?
Okay.
And it dictates buoyancy. So a high volume board displaces more water.
Meaning it floats better?
Exactly. It sits higher on the surface, and it provides a much wider, way more forgiving platform.
Oh, I see.
So when your muscles are shivering and your joints are getting stiff from the cold, that high volume acts as this crucial stabilizing force.
It makes me think of driving in a massive snowstorm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like you don't want a lightweight, zippy little sports car that's just going to spin out on the ice the second you tap the brakes.
Right, right.
You want a heavy, stable 4x4 that is going to keep you planted and safe.
That's a great comparison. You are intentionally trading agility for survival.
Right.
But, and here's the catch, that trade-off introduces a pretty severe mechanical problem when it is time to actually paddle out past the crashing waves.
Because it's too big.
Exactly. A high-volume board is bulky. It wants to float over everything.
Including the waves coming at you.
Right, including the turbulent whitewater that's pushing aggressively toward the shore.
Which actually brings up a detail in the diary that genuinely confused me at first.
What was that?
So the instructor notes that to reach the line up quickly, they actually lay down on the board and paddle with their arms.
Right.
And I'm reading this thinking, wait, they have a giant paddle in their hands. Why are they lying down? I mean, isn't the entire point of stand-up paddleboarding to stand up?
Yeah, it totally seems counterintuitive at first until you start to analyze the aerodynamics and, like, the center of gravity.
Okay, break that down for me.
So, when a surfer is standing upright on an SUP board, their body essentially acts like a massive sail.
Oh, wow. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so if there is even a slight offshore wind, it's pushing directly against their chest, basically fighting every single stroke of the paddle.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. And furthermore, when you're trying to punch through the broken, chaotic part of the wave, standing up puts your center of gravity extremely high on this really unstable, bouncy surface.
Oh, I get it. It's like minimizing your hitbox in a video game.
Yes. Perfect analogy.
You're stripping away everything the wind can grab onto so all your energy actually goes into forward momentum. Like by lying down, you lower that center of gravity flush against the board and you just eliminate the wind resistance.
Exactly. And we can frame this as a concept of energy economics.
Okay, I like that. Energy economics.
Right. Out in the freezing ocean, every single paddle stroke is like a microtransaction. It's a withdrawal from your finite daily energy bank.
And you don't have a lot in the bank because it's so cold.
Precisely. Standing up in those conditions acts as a massive tax on every stroke. So lying down eliminates the tax.
Makes sense.
They can use their arms to generate rapid, really explosive speed to breach the break. So it's not giving up, it is a tactical adaptation to the physics of the ocean.
Okay, so you survive the cold by choosing the big board, right?
Right.
But you survive the break by getting low and basically turning yourself into a torpedo.
Yeah, I just power through it.
But then they have to go incredibly far out. I mean, the diary details that the SUP lineup, so the staging area where they wait for the waves,
Yep.
it sits much further out than where the shortboard surfers wait.
Yeah.
And sometimes even further out than the longboarders.
Which is, I mean, that's a premium piece of real estate out there.
Yeah.
But it comes with a massive energetic cost.
Because they're constantly fighting the current.
Yeah. But by positioning themselves at the furthest outer zone, SUP surfers get the absolute first pick of the incoming swells.
Oh, because they're further out.
Right. And because they are standing up once they reach that zone, their elevated vantage point allows them to see the energy pulses moving through the ocean long before anyone else does.
Right. The shortboarders are sitting down in the water so they can't see over the next swell.
Exactly. But holding that deep water position against the ocean currents requires just immense, continuous effort.
It's like claiming the highest lookout tower, but having to climb 1,000 stairs to get there.
Yes.
And once you're up there, you can't just swing at anything. The physical struggle of paddling out basically transitions into this really intense mental waiting game.
Yeah, the chess match.
Yeah. The diary talks extensively about reading the ocean. The instructor notes that set waves come in patterns, but they're never exactly the same.
No.
Some come in fast, some drag in a bit slower,
Yeah.
and understanding the timing is everything. It kind of reminds me of watching an expert day trader looking at a chaotic stock market ticker.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, to a beginner, it just looks like random noise. But the expert isn't looking at the noise. They're looking for the hidden rhythm.
And that rhythm is critical because it dictates where they place themselves to find what we call the peak zone.
The peak zone, okay.
Right. So in fluid dynamics, a wave isn't actually water moving forward.
Wait, really?
Yeah. It's an energy pulse moving through the water. The water itself mostly stays put.
Mind blown. Okay.
So the peak zone is the specific geographical coordinate where the ocean floor forces that energy pulse upward into its absolute steepest incline.
So it's a specific spot. Why does that steepness matter so much?
Because that incline is essentially the engine of the ride. We talked about the heavy, high-volume board earlier, right?
The snowstorm 4x4.
Exactly. So that high-volume board wants to float up, but gravity wants to pull the surfer down the face of the wave.
Okay.
That tension, the interaction between buoyancy pushing up and gravity pulling down that steep face, that is what generates kinetic forward speed. Yeah. If a surfer catches the wave too late, or say, too far on the gentle shoulder of the wave where it's not steep,
And what happens?
the angle just isn't steep enough to overcome the friction of the water, the engine dies.
Wow. So catching the wave at its maximum point of critical energy isn't just about getting a thrill or like showing off. It's a literal mechanical necessity to make that heavy board move at all.
Precisely. You need the steepness for the engine.
And the diary makes a very firm assertion here that I kind of want to test with you.
Okay, let's hear it.
The instructor claims that the best wave of the day is not luck, like at all. It is purely the result of observation, timing, and positioning.
Right.
But come on, we are talking about a chaotic ocean with wind, currents, 30 other surfers splashing around, shifting sandbars. I mean, you can't calculate every variable.
You'd think so.
Surely luck plays some part when a massive set just rolls in exactly where you happen to be sitting.
You know, it is really tempting to credit the ocean's whims, but the expert surfer operates on a completely different level of pattern recognition.
Okay, tell me more.
What looks like a chaotic, completely random set to a novice is actually the result of deepwater swells interacting with the bathymetry,
The what?
the underwater topography, basically the shape of the ocean floor at Malipo Beach.
Oh,
The expert has spent hours, maybe years, analyzing how varying speeds of sets refract off those specific sandbars. So when the instructor says luck is just what beginners call observation, what they are highlighting is that an expert has already calculated the trajectory.
right.
They've deliberately placed their board exactly where that specific wave's engine will inevitably ignite.
Wow. So they aren't waiting for the ocean to hand them a gift. They are doing the math.
They are doing the math in real time under immense physical strain.
That is wild.
Yeah.
But, and here's where it gets really interesting, all that patient observation, all that calculated positioning out there in the deep water, it honestly means nothing if you don't execute when the moment arrives.
Oh, absolutely. The rubber has to meet the road.
Right. Which brings us to the climax of the diary, and really the most breathtaking visuals in our sources. The takeoff, the drop-in.
This is where the mental challenge, I think, actually surpasses the physical one.
The instructor writes about seeing that bigger wave coming, processing the pattern, and then making the definitive choice to go. And they highlight a specific mental requirement for this. Absolute confidence.
Essential.
And looking at these photos, especially that one silhouette of the surfer against this blazing sunset, perched on the very lip of a massive cresting swell, you could literally feel the tension of that split-second decision.
Yeah, it's palpable.
So here is a mechanical question for you. When the diary talks about confidence, is that just a nice psychological boost to pump yourself up, or is there an actual physical reality to it during the drop-in?
Oh, confidence is absolutely a physical mechanic. In surfing, hesitation is practically a physical force that works against you.
Wait, really?
Think about it. If you doubt yourself as the wave steepens beneath you, your natural self-preservation human instinct is to lean back. You pull away from the drop.
Because it's scary. You don't want to fall forward.
Right. But leaning back shifts all your weight to the tail of the board.
Okay.
And this acts as a brake. It stalls the board right at the crest, right when the wave is pitching, which guarantees the wave will pick up the back of the board and pitch you violently forward over the falls.
Oh, so leaning away from the danger actually causes the disaster.
Precisely. To catch the waves, you have to lean forward, literally down the sheer face, committing your body weight to the gravity of the drop before you have actually secured the ride.
That is terrifying.
It is. If we connect this to the bigger picture, confidence in this context is the catalyst that turns potential energy into kinetic energy. You cannot paddle half-heartedly. The commitment must precede the action.
It's a leap of faith, but a calculated one.
Exactly.
And once you make that leap and drop in, the sensory experience completely shifts. The diary vividly describes this feeling. The rush of speed, riding along the face of the wave, leaning into the wall of water, and just feeling connected to the ocean's raw power.
It's the payoff for all that work.
And that connection is beautifully demonstrated in our visual sources. Like, we have these striking black and white shots of surfers leaning heavily into steep vertical walls of water. They aren't just standing passively on the board trying to balance.
No, not at all. They are actively managing the energy. The distinction the diary makes here between beginner surfing and real surfing is vital.
Right. The instructor points out that beginners can have a fun time just catching the white water and riding straight toward the shore. But real surfing requires riding along the wave.
Yes, moving horizontally.
Yeah, you have to utilize that steep section we talked about and move with intention. It makes me think of the difference between riding a roller coaster and driving a race car.
Okay, let's explore that distinction because I think it's spot on.
Well, when you ride a roller coaster, you're strapped in. You just hold on, close your eyes, and survive the forward momentum.
Right, you're just along for the ride.
Exactly. That's the beginner riding the white water straight to the beach. You are a passenger to the energy. But riding the face of the wave carving along the steep wall, deciding exactly where on the wave you want to be, that's taking the steering wheel. You aren't just surviving the energy, you are directing it.
And directing that energy requires rapid physical feedback and continuous micro-adjustments.
Right.
Look at the aggressive postures in those photos. The knees are deeply bent, their core is entirely engaged, the shoulders are rotated, and you can see them digging the blade of that long paddle directly into the face of the wave.
Almost using it as a pivot point.
Yes, the paddle becomes an anchor in the moving water. It allows them to carve a sharp turn against the immense forward speed.
That's incredible.
That explosive white spray kicking up behind the board in the photos isn't an accident, is the physical manifestation of moving with intention. They are actively negotiating with the wave's power second by second.
It is a high-speed dialogue between the surfer and the ocean.
Beautifully put.
But, inevitably the ride ends. The wave dissipates into the shallows, the energy fades. But for a dedicated learner like our instructor at Beta Camp, the process is only half over. Surviving the ride isn't enough if you want to actually progress.
No, the most important work actually happens the moment the wave is gone.
Exactly. You have to analyze the data of the experience. The diary dives into the critical importance of post-wave reflection.
Which is something a lot of people skip.
They do.
Yeah.
The instructor specifically mentions recording rides via video or photos so they can check their posture and improve their technique.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this. Think about how often you, as a listener, might rely on your own memory to judge your performance after, say, a high-stakes presentation at work or a difficult conversation.
Oh, memory is terrible for that. Adrenaline completely lies to us.
It really does. Adrenaline drastically warps our perception.
Yeah, in any dynamic environment, adrenaline heightens our sense of speed and danger, but it distorts our physical positioning.
Give me an example of how that happens surfing.
Well, a surfer might feel like they were carving this massive aggressive turn on the wave, right? They feel like they're laying it all on the line.
Right.
But then the video evidence will show they were barely leaning at all. They were practically standing straight up. If you don't have an objective feedback loop, your own version of a video replay, you are likely just reinforcing your own mistakes over and over.
That is such a good point. And the instructor doesn't just rely on cameras for that feedback. The diary highlights the immense value of community. It notes that surfing with others helps you grow much faster.
Because you're watching them and they're watching you.
Right. It creates a distributed network of observation.
Yeah, so while you are paddling back out to the lineup, a peer can tell you, hey, your paddle placement was slightly off, or you missed the optimal peak zone by a few feet.
They're basically deciphering the patterns of the ocean together.
Exactly.
And the instructor immediately uses that data as fuel for the next wave. They're actively building this database of physical and mental knowledge. And the personal payoff for the instructor from this specific day in the freezing Malipa water was just massive.
It was a successful day.
Very. They write about catching a steep, fast, powerful wave that provided this tangible, visceral feeling that their surfing level had leveled up.
A breakthrough moment.
Yes. And it leads to the ultimate thesis of the diary, which is one wave can teach you everything.
That phrase it captures the compounding effect of reflection, community, and practice so perfectly.
It really does.
All those hours of failure and adjustment, the cold, the waiting, it all culminates in a single, perfectly executed moment.
So what does this all mean for us? When I read that line, I was just struck by the sheer economy of this sport.
The ratio of effort to reward.
Yes. Think about it. You spend hours in freezing cold water. Your core temperature is dropping. You are competing with 30 other surfers for premium positioning. You are paddling a heavy, high-volume board until your arms burn, analyzing the hidden rhythms of the swell, just waiting for the right pattern to emerge.
It's grueling.
And out of all of that pain, patience, and cold, a single, fleeting moment of perfection, a ride that maybe lasts, 10 to 15 seconds?
If you're lucky, yeah.
That 15 seconds is enough to completely validate the entire endeavor.
Because that 15-second ride proves that the system works.
Oh, I like that.
Right. It is the empirical proof that your observation of the ocean's pattern was accurate, your calculation of the peak zone was precise, and your physical commitment to the drop-in was absolutely unwavering.
Wow.
It is a brief, intense validation of years of invisible dedication. This raises an important question, though, about intentionality in other areas of life.
It really does. Let's look back at the journey we've taken today through these sources. We started on the freezing shores of Malipo Beach, deciphering why cold water shrinks the margin for error and forces the use of those heavy, high-volume boards.
We looked at the energy economics of lying down to paddle past the crash zone, turning the body into a low-resistance torpedo.
Right. minimizing the hitbox. Then we moved into the far lineup, where physical endurance gives way to the intellectual chess match of reading set wave patterns.
And we dismantled the myth of luck, revealing it to be nothing more than expert observation and deliberate positioning in the peak zone's engine.
We examined the drop-in, discovering that confidence isn't just a state of mind, but a necessary mechanical commitment of your weight and gravity. We contrasted the beginner's roller coaster survival with the expert's race car steering, visually anchored by those photos of surfers aggressively pivoting their paddles into the steep walls of water.
Moving with intent.
Exactly. And finally, we saw how objective data, video feedback, and community observation turns a 15-second thrill into a lifetime of progression. It all loops back to that incredible image of the gladiator standing tall on the green wall of water. It looks like magic, but we now know it's a masterpiece of intentionality.
It is the ultimate reward for refusing to accept the chaos of the environment and choosing to read the pattern instead.
And that leaves you with something very powerful to think about. If one perfect execution, one beautifully timed, fully committed wave, can teach you more than 100 mediocre, unreflective attempts, what is the one wave you're waiting for in your own life or career? Are you putting in the work to observe the hidden patterns around you? Are you building the objective feedback loops to correct your form? And most importantly, are you patiently waiting in the peak zone, ready to commit your entire weight to the drop when the moment arrives? Or are you just paddling blindly in the whitewater, hoping to get lucky?
A question that definitely demands an honest answer.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep observing those patterns, time your moves, and when your wave comes, commit to the drop. We'll see you next time.